Next up, I've got my good mate Ellis from Real Time. Ellis, I met through the REACH program, and there is special mention to Tom and Peter from SCV, who are one of our investors, who we went through the PropTech REACH Accelerator program in 2020, which was great right in the middle of COVID. And then Second Century Ventures invested in Ubi Park at the end of or early 21 and supported us through that. But through that program, we met a whole heap of mentors that were in the REACH program, and one that I've stayed very close with since then is Ellis. Ellis, Real Time Australia does all our recruitment, and what we found in that recruitment, and pretty much everyone except for Will and I have probably gone through the process now, is that we've got a really good fit for our culture. So that sort of small business startup culture originally, and now this scale-up growth culture that we're in now isn't for everyone, and we've been able to find really good fit for that through Ellis's processes, and then good people that are fitting into and attracting into the parking industry, which is also, I'm sure, people out here that are employing in our industry sometimes a bit of a challenge. But Ellis, I'd love you to come up, and we're going to have a little bit of chat around what's happening in recruitment and around the AI space. And I'm going to hand it over to you, mate. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Mossy. Okay, so here we go. Sorry, I'm just going to put this up for 1 second. I'm one of those do it all at the last minute people, so this has kind of changed and my notes are very different, so I do apologise. But good to see you all, good to be here. I was very lucky to speak last year on innovation, something that we are always talking to our clients and partners about. And this big, juicy, meaty topic I feel like is a natural succession from innovation and how and why we need to start implementing AI into our own personal roles and our organizations. So thank you for the intro, Mossy. This is just a quick view on who some of the logos we do business with. I think, Mossy, you're the one who actually called me out a few years ago saying you're like an anti-recruiter. Kind of like half a good bloke, which is quite a compliment in the recruitment game. But what we do is not just you have a job, here's a resume, and all the best. We sit with companies like this and have a discussion around where your organisation has to go next. Mossy was the one when we met at REACH. He said, "Mate, I don't know if we need 5 salespeople, a BA, or a product manager." And then after doing the dance and walking through our methodology and having lots of conversations, we were able to introduce Jesse, who came in and solved a lot of Mossy's problems, and the rest is history with what Jesse has done and the rest of the team has done at Ubi Park. So what I wanted to do, because this is such a big, juicy topic, I was trying to think of where do I go in terms of what do I want to focus on. So I broke it up to 4 main quadrants. And this is, by the way, allowed to be associated to any type of business. If it's a startup with 5 people or some of the big name enterprises that we work with, this is the first quadrant, which is the actual workforce. When there is a change in a technical revolution, this is what happens. We all know the jobs are eliminated. We all know that jobs will change significantly, and that's what I want to pay attention to, that everyone in the room's job, everyone in the knowledge workforce, your job, our job has and will continue to significantly change, thanks to AI. And, of course, new jobs are created. We're seeing things like prompt engineers, one of the first roles kind of created, marketects, one of the more recent roles and completely different job descriptions that we've ever created. So that is going to only continue. But the unique challenge, which I know that I felt and I know that a lot of our clients are feeling as well, is that AI feels different. No one has been through this type of revolution. No one has, been smacked in the face with a new development like ChatGPT or AI did to us all those 18 months ago and continue to today. It's a bit like everyone is in this deer in the headlights moment, and those coming out of it and experimenting with their own roles and their own organizations and org structures are starting to see some real ROI. So how do we get out of that paralysis state? How do we get out of the headlights? So this is one of my favorite quotes: AI won't take your job, but someone who understands it will. Tomorrow will be different. The pace of change is only accelerating, and new companies are being built faster and faster and faster with smaller and smaller and smaller teams. So that means that your company, if you solve a particular problem in your space and you have a team of 15 or 1,500, someone is able to replicate that and laser focus a solution to the problem that your company is solving tomorrow. There's this big discussion around the first billion-dollar revenue company with one human being as an employee because of all of the AI tools and bots that they're basically employing. So we need to start thinking about how we can look at our roles, how we can start looking at basically using AI to upskill my role and everyone in your organization. The focus is on looking at yourself and your team and thinking about how can I develop the skills that actually complement AI. And this is what I'll go into next, is about how to look at your team and say, okay, where do we need to upskill? Where do we need to hire staff or borrow staff or contract staff? And with the focus of critical thinking, creativity, and problem-solving human beings. The more of those we have in our organization and the better that we can upskill each other on that, the stronger we will be as a business. So we are looking at using AI to seek ideas and not just answers, which is what a lot of the original phase of, ChatGPT can get me the answer to X, Y, and Z, but it's not really about that. It's using it and enhancing your team to start using it as a thought partner. A really good example is this Boston Consulting Group recently did an experiment. They had one team of consultants who could use AI as a thought partner, not for the answers, just can you help me through this problem? And the other team did not have AI as a partner. Of course, the team that used AI absolutely wiped the floor. They got to the problem 25% quicker, and the actual solution was 40% better. So if a BCG consultant, one single human being, can be 40% better because of the use of AI, then it's a bit of a smack in the face that we all should be doing that as well. From the CEO to the account manager to the software engineer, everyone can, jump to the next level there. So all of this, when we're looking at the individual, we're thinking about, okay, right, I need to upskill, my team needs to upskill, but now we are in organizational transformation point of view. One of my favorite quotes is, what got you here won't get you there. It's only becoming a stronger and stronger point when we're seeing all of this technological change around us and thinking that, okay, our business is in this state, I want it to get to that state. If we keep on doing what we're doing here, that's going to take a long time, and that's going to be a very tricky transition. So we need to look at things like hiring smarter, not just hiring excellent people, but hiring for adaptability, resiliency, and people who can put up with that ever-changing environment. I think the quality over quantity piece is quite important as well. We all want to manage a smaller team. If we had a team of 50, but only 70% of them were overperforming or A players, then we've got some serious lag in the company. So how can we reduce the headcount to a degree in order to ensure that everyone is an absolute A player. This is a big one, turnover. It's usually one of the ugliest names in any organization, any company will avoid turnover at all costs. Will be embarrassed about turnover. It's this big, ugly thing. But what we need to grasp, and what we help companies do as well, is look at the underperformance. There's that 80-20 rule in any sales team, that 20% of the team is actually bringing in 80% of the revenue. So you've got, a number of staff there who are not kicking goals. We don't have time anymore with the increase of competition of how fast things are going to continue coming in and coming against us as a company. We don't have time to hang on to those underperformers anymore. Give them the opportunity to flourish in another industry or role elsewhere. We need to give them a performance management plan, help them out, and then refocus on having an absolute performant team of people. And then obviously turnover on the other side. Yes, we want to hang on to those performant people. How do we do that? I can speak for days about that, but really there's no better motivation for your A players when you get rid of the C players in your team. It sends a message. It shows them and everyone that you're serious, and we need to look after the A players, because if we are here and we need to get to there, we need to change tact. And then the big one is change management. There's so much transformation happening in this entire process. If you as the leader, or if your team doesn't have the change management skills, you can't mess around with that. We see so many transformations, so many projects completely ruin the culture, get the turnover in the wrong part of the business where all of your good talent is leaving. It's just endless headache. So if you don't have the resources in your team to do the change management piece, reach out to someone who can. We at Real Time, we're constantly putting in very good change managers for 3, 6, 9-month projects. Get them in, get them out, and then your company will look different at the end of that day. Okay, now, I hope this isn't as ugly as, okay, it's still pretty ugly, but it's not as bad as I thought with the formatting coming across. When we're talking about organizational transformation, when we're thinking about how AI is going to 2x, 3x, 5x our team, we need to start looking at the org structure differently. The box and line org structure has had its time. We need to start looking at the org structure as an ecosystem. And this was, again, very late. Sorry, Alyssa, I did this at like the absolute last minute, so it's not very sexy. But to get the idea is that if we have our departments actually intermingling and talking to each other, sharing information, you can also picture that, say, in the red box here, a red circle here. That could be your suppliers. You could have your customers in this. You could have your partners in this. So everyone is actually internal in a way, sharing information and getting decisions made quicker, getting products out the door faster, getting more feedback, et cetera, et cetera. But just to laser in on an example with the sales team, there's your head of sales, and these are their reports. You've got a senior BDM, BDMs, and account managers. When we start to look at AI tools and how we can actually start coupling AI with our humans, the org structure starts to expand into more of a web. My Canvas skills are crap, so this is meant to kind of be a web. Picture a web. When you have a senior BDM who is using tools like this, then you have one human being with 3, 4, 5 times the output. So if any of these people in your team are underperforming and you're giving them AI tools and they're not 2, 3xing, then you need to move them on. Software engineering, for example, that's a really good test case or a test market in how we're seeing the developments of AI on individual skills and then in the organizational transformation piece as well. When AI, some particular tools came out last year, teams started to think, well, I don't need software engineers anymore. Or I've got a team of 10 engineers. I can reduce that down to 3 or 4 because of these other tools that are doing that. What we quickly learned was that was not really the right approach. Why don't we just look at software engineering tools like Cursor is a really good example, where we're saying, okay, well, let's bring our good engineers back, give them Cursor, and now it's like having 4 engineers in my team when I've only got 1. Software engineering, that market, that area, that's the lead in terms of how this is going to apply to every position in your org structure, even the CEO's position. Now, the final quadrant is the recruitment landscape. Everyone in here is, in one way, shape, or form, a candidate, or an employee, or an employer. This is extremely sticky at the moment. AI will kill the CV. Hallelujah. I'll show you how that will happen in a second. But what is happening right now? Candidates are using tools that write their CV for them and apply to hundreds, if not thousands, of jobs with tailored CVs to those job ads. Even if the recruitment software or the recruiter has set questions, the AI tools can also answer those questions. They're pretty simple, like, location, your visa status, years experience in the industry, a few simple ones like that. It also writing the cover letter to each of those hundreds of applications. Really cool thread on Reddit where a dude in the States shows you how he did this. After he set it up, he pressed go, and within, I think it was 6 days, he had 50 interviews lined up, 50 different companies. So, Seek released this a few weeks ago. 50% of the applications on Seek right now are AI-led and generated. What does that do? That completely stuffs up the recruiters, the hiring managers, the TA teams, the employers, who have now got hundreds, if not thousands, of applicants. And not, exactly true applicants. You could have a salesperson who has, the AI has slightly tweaked their experience and skills to now, be very convincing that they're a marketing manager, just through the different language that it's using. So this is sticking down the whole process of how do we get through all of these applicants. I had to turn off one of our job ads a few weeks ago for an operations lead at 1,600 applications in 2 days. We try to give a fantastic candidate experience. We try to speak to as many of those applicants as possible. That's impossible. So what do recruitment teams or employers do? They said, okay, AI, we need you to help with this loop. So you see what's happening here. AI is creating the CV, it's applying to everything, it's masking the true experience. Now you need AI to actually decipher who within that application is worth speaking to, and recruiters are using this to actually not look at any CVs, but just spit out a number of candidates saying, okay, these are the top 4 out of your 1,600 AI replicated CVs. So I think this is actually one of the big reasons why, maybe not big reasons, but in my purview, this is one of the reasons the economy is in a bit of a bind at the moment. Projects are slowing down. People aren't getting the people that they need in because we're in this loop. So, how do we get out of the loop? We've kind of come back to stage 1 in recruitment, where it's not job ads. Real-time hardly posts job ads anymore because of this mess. 90% of the placements that we've made this year have been through our network, and about 20% of that is headhunting, 20 or 30. But the worth of your network in finding the people you need is now paramount. If you don't have time to, invest in a talent pipeline, if you know that you need, ops leads or software engineers or marketing managers or salespeople, if you don't have the time to do that, then work with an agency or work with different networks to get that, to tap into that pipeline finally. That's the other thing. That's kind of one of my, it's unfortunate, but it's kind of one of my favorite stats at the moment is recruitment agencies have the highest insolvency since the dot-com boom, because they're all struggling. They're all getting rid of staff. They are in administration because they're still doing this old method of recruitment, which put an ad out and then wait for the application through and then do your best. That is done. So I'll take a quick breath and try to sum that up with where you are in your position at the moment, whether it's CEO, sales manager, marketing manager. A, you need to look at how you're going to upskill yourself, and B, look at how your team can be lifted to the next level. If you need help in doing that, if you need tapping into those types of networks or referral programs, I'd love to help. Any friend of Mostyn is a friend of mine, yeah, we'll be here to answer any questions if anyone in the crowd had anything. Sorry, Mossy, I just saw you turn around at the last second.
Thanks, Ellis. Got any questions for Ellis? There's a fair bit to unpack there. Yeah, looks like there's a few. Brad, do you want to go first?
Where's that leave us with LinkedIn, right? When everything's turning towards the hunt rather than the inbound.
Yeah, really good question. LinkedIn is getting very messy. Some of the, we do a lot of work in technology, like software engineers and the like. They are just, the good ones, the good software engineers are getting hounded 20, 30 times a day from AI software, or just in general of people saying, hey, I've got a great job for you, blah, 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 let's get a coffee or whatever. So good people are getting off LinkedIn. However, the number of new users on LinkedIn is still steadily increasing. So the way that we're looking at the recruitment market, there's two markets. There's active and passive. If you are active on the market, it means that you are actively applying to jobs. You're out of a job for some reason, or you're sick of your job, or you've just unfortunately been made redundant or something like that. The active market is where places like LinkedIn are drowning in, because there's more noise, there's more tools and different circles around your head to tell everyone that you're in this current state, and that's only going to continue, getting more advanced. So in the case of, if you're a candidate on LinkedIn, if you're a good one, you would see how upset you are in this current state of being hounded all day. If you're an employer, a lot of your targets are getting out of it. So I would be as an employer, I'd be looking at LinkedIn more as a network referral tool, in terms of if you're needing to hire, salespeople for your company and it's in parking, then look at all of those, groups and meetups and things like that, and use that as an intro to have that human connection with the market or the candidate pipeline that you're actually interested in. Without the human connection, people are just switching off. Real-time we've been in business for 32 years. We have never, ever seen the amount of candidate referrals or, cold calls that we are receiving saying, hey, I'm this person, can you help me out? And these people are incredibly skilled. They're getting out of the LinkedIn job ad, applications. So you're going to see a move towards more of that old school human connection, which is going to benefit, the right people. Thanks for the question. Any other questions?
Hi, Ellis. Yeah,
hey,
I've got a question. Thanks for the presentation. It was great. I especially loved the organisation as an ecosystem. That was really, really nice visual, especially if you did it at the last minute. I'm curious in terms of AI in your life.
Yep.
Do you use AI tools to get what you need done? And if so, which ones do you use?
Absolutely. So AI did all of that. We could do a lot better. I could do a lot better in terms of how I could push AI to do a lot better. In my role, I'm head of partnerships, so I'm constantly talking to new companies and getting referred to new hiring managers. That is a quasi-sales role, I suppose. I'm using AI to help me with my pitch for who I'm speaking to. I've got a meeting with a CTO tomorrow. I'm feeding I'm basically doing this through ChatGPT and Gemini and the like, but there are a couple of other programs that I'm looking at. Tell me, research this company's previous earnings. Research I have a whole list of absolutely as much data as it can consume. Now, tell me, what are the 3 most pressing issues of this CTO? What are they likely going to be struggling with? What's their background? What are they, I can get really, really advanced at that. So as a salesperson, if I'm using AI to tailor my pitch, I'm not, for sales teams doing 100 cold calls and getting 1 lead, that percentage has gone through the roof now because it's tailored. It's not just throwing numbers at a wall. It's really, really using it as that thought leader, as I said, not just give me the answers, but once I push it around and say, okay, well, this is the number 1 problem, but what if this happened in the company? Or what if their biggest competitors did this? What are some other ideas that you have? And then you start riffing on that. Pleasure.
Any other questions? Liv, you can burst out, I reckon, from the back. You're going to ask if you would have got hired if AI was around?
So on that vein, you're talking about the hiring landscape. Now, we've got AI that can completely generate the perfect candidate. It's writing the CV, you've done all the lessons, you can spit out the perfect person with the perfect responses. How do you actually go through and find the right cultural fit, which is the stuff that you're talking about of they're capable, they're learning, they've got an approach that they're taking on. How do you actually get through all that crap that they need to be aware of and demonstrate to actually get to who that person is underneath to find that proper cultural fit that is a high performer?
Wonderful question. Thank you. This is that everyone's heard the big hire for behavior, not experience, but very, very few people know how to actually do that. So it's just been a bit of a tagline. What we're doing now is sitting with our clients and a lot of new clients actually and completely redesigning, flipping the interview process on its head. The questions and the assessments are now behavioral based. I'm putting candidates through scenarios. I'm becoming much more direct with candidates. I'm providing feedback within the interview itself and seeing how they react to that. I'm giving real life examples. I'm basically honing in on when I ask a client, hey, tell me about your culture, even though they've created the company or they've been there for 100 years, no one can really articulate what our culture is really well. It's a really hard thing to do. So we push them around on that by saying, okay, tell me the last time shit hits the fan. How did everyone respond? What happened when you won the last big contract? When so-and-so is sick, who takes the slack and how are they perceived with the rest of the team? Because this person who we're putting in there is going to have to work with them in that scenario. Now, what if that person is sick? And what if this is just like, really going deep into making the assessment process as lifelike as possible. And then you're going to see that interviewees, a lot of people are just hiring good interviewers at the moment because they pass all the tests, because everyone's been through the same interview cycle 1,000 times. They know how to answer the questions. They've done the study on your company. They know how to do X, Y, and Z. But until you really push them around from a behavioral point of view and ask the right questions, then you're not going to have a very high strike rate. Did that answer your question? Okay. I feel like I might have missed something there, but we can talk later about it. I've got some doozy, I've got some of the best interview questions in the world, so I can share them with you later on.
Any more questions? Yeah, no worries, Faz.
Thank you. Thanks, Ellis. So I don't know if the question's right directed just at you because it's just in general about AI, and everyone talks about how AI makes us better. Mm-hmm. And it certainly makes me better. I use it a lot. I know it does. My question is, do I then, in upskilling myself, I rely a lot on AI in parts where I'm not so good at, right? So am I then just making myself dependent on tech? Or am I actually upskilling my skills in understanding and reproducing data, knowledge, and all of that that I could have?
Yeah, great question. And I think this is one of the reasons that some people are scared to really lean into AI as much as they should. But it's not using AI to get the answers to something. That's what Google does. Let Google do that. And AI is pretty crap at just providing the answers. It hallucinates and all those things. But it's there to teach you or to help you generate ideas. One CEO I know uses it as I'm going into the board meeting. There is this particular person on the board who is just hell-bent on growth and sales. Teach me how to represent what we're doing in sales in a new way. Show me thinking or thought frameworks that I can adopt. And then you'll get 3 or 4 different approaches to how to think about the problem. Because AI is never going to give you the better answer that you can decipher in that personal, problem that you're up against. But use it to teach you how to learn in a way. Because then you're going to, if you're using it for marketing, that, I don't touch marketing, that's over there, then when you're having the conversation around marketing, you're not coming with the answers, you're coming with the questions. Because this is the thought framework around how to approach a problem in this area of marketing. And then when you're in the room with your agency or the others, or when you're speaking to them, now you're learning because you've asked the questions. So use it for ideas, not answers, is the mantra that I have. And I feel like I'm getting better in those areas because of my approach to those questions now. Hope that helps.
I think have a bit of argument around whether my kids should be using it for school. And I'm a little bit of a believer maybe they should, because you're learning stuff, getting the answers back from it. And I'm not sure whether I should now do my quiz a little bit later, because if the answers are wrong, I'll have to blame AI. Any last questions for Ellis? Yes, Mark?
Thanks, Boston. Maybe it's not so much a question, but an observation of AI. As a neurodivergent thinker, I see AI very much in that same way. When people put things in, it looks at, for a long time, I also have dyscalculus. So going through school with maths and formulas and whatever, if I saw the problem and I didn't get the answer, I was wrong. There's only one method of teaching and learning. But if I was given the answer, I would then be able to find a different way to actually get to that path. And that's a lot of what AI is actually doing. It's putting a lot of data in and then looking for a solution. So it's great for putting words on a page. And your observation about the human element in hiring is so high that referral and how do people work with people is so valid.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks for sharing that observation. We have also, like, percentage-wise, very proud of hiring the most amount of neurodivergent candidates ever this year in Real Time's history, because of this new approach to interviewing and problem solving. Because if we just keep on interviewing the ways or assessing people in the same frame of mind, we're going to get the same answer. And that salesperson didn't work out after 6 months because of whatever happened. Now I'm going to use the same method of assessment to speak to another person, and bloody salespeople, they don't stick around. It's your fault. You haven't assessed that person correctly. So it has allowed for neurodivergence neurodivergency to really start shining. And yeah, I'm really happy that you brought that up. Thank you.
And Alice, I've started to turn around. I actually do like some recruiters now. But that story is 100% right. I had a mentality of when I met Ellis that recruitment was a waste of money, and yeah, you're paying for something where you may not get the result you actually needed. I can't highly recommend Real Time anymore. The amount of work they did with Ubi Park around strategy, and Ellis's dad, Gary, helped me significantly in some stuff that we were looking at around our org chart and how we could bring this company together. Was immense at obviously a lot of cost to them, investment in us, so we really appreciate the work you guys have done. And if anyone's looking to recruit, I can't, please reach out to Ellis, grab the QR code, or get in touch with me and I can put you in touch with Ellis at any time.
Thanks so much.
There you are, mate. Thank you again.
Thanks for having me.